Hi, everybody. Snowy, snowy, snowy.
Oh, it's making my nose itch.
What, just talking about it? Yeah. Have to say, I had a little crick in my back this morning.
Oh.
Well, actually, up around my shoulders, yes, because I have no strength in this arm, but I had a little bit of strength for shoveling on this one, and I was like, oh, what was that? It was a muscle. I asked Ken, it was funny because I was like, I was flexing my muscle on my right arm. I said, feel it, there's a muscle in there. And then this side is noticeably nothing.
Is this your left?
Yeah.
Oh,
because
okay.
I'm a right-handed.
So you,
yeah.
Okay.
Oh. Anyway, so here we are a minute into the podcast and we still haven't introduced ourselves again. But I won't swear this time. Okay. So welcome to the Fleece and Harmony podcast, or videocast, Woolcast, but we can't even say that anymore. Crafting cast. Somebody said we're fiber engineers.
Oh, I always go with textile artist.
Okay, yeah, right.
No, it's true.
Yeah, it is true. So I'm Kim.
I'm Betsy.
I'm Simone.
Yes, and we're the Fleece and Harmony team. Yay! If you're watching this on the day that it's published, it is, and I just realized I've been looking at the microphone the whole time that I was talking. So anyway, yes, the producer is pointing to the camera. Hi, everybody.
We found you.
Yeah. This is episode 167. And if you're watching it when it's released on the day that it's released, it's February 21st. One more week. And then February is crossed off the calendar.
Mm-hmm. That's okay.
Yeah. You've had enough, Betsy?
Yep.
Other than, we'll talk about in the farm update, the weather that we've been having the last couple days. Today it's okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of the right temperature. The snow is nice and fluffy and white, and there's no wind.
Yeah.
Yes. So, do you want to tell us about the wind on the Iona Hills?
Well, Ken came this morning and asked how much we had to shovel out, and I said we didn't because, because it just blows right past us.
Oh, okay.
But for the majority of yesterday, I could not see the house across the road.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And it wasn't snowing.
I don't know if it was or not, because up there it was, but it's snowing sideways. So yeah, it's probably just coming off the fields and blowing past.
Yeah, so that's what I thought too, because I looked out and couldn't see across the pasture or across the street on the other side. And then when I looked at my Norwegian weather station, thanks Erna and Carlos for putting me onto that, it actually wasn't snowing.
Okay.
It was just that, like, it looked like a blizzard. And how about you?
It was the same. Lots of sideways snow, and as I mentioned this morning, the cats had to be lifted and put into the snow to go out and do their business. So they were not so happy with me.
Oh,
but
okay. They didn't want to go. They wanted to stay next to the fire.
Yes.
Yeah. How did your cat make out? You have an outdoor cat.
He's an outdoor cat, but he has a fairly plush little house built for him, and we were discussing even how to improve it. So about 7:30 last night, I went and dug him out just to check, make sure everything was still dry. And he came out cozy as anything, looking at me like, "Oh, is this done yet?"
Yeah.
So I shoveled it all out, got it all, just make sure when it starts to melt that stuff wouldn't be wet on him. But he was dry and fine. Yeah, he was dry and fine.
Oh, good.
He was happy though to just have some space too. I heard him thumping around and running around on the porch then.
Oh, okay. Get some exercise.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like the dog yesterday. Kind of drove us nuts a little bit last night because he didn't get as much exercise as he normally does. So, so we all survived. But I saw a post yesterday that was showing, it was some kind of meteorological site or whatever, and showed that we had the exact profile of what a hurricane would be. If this had been in hurricane season, and with rain, it would have been a category 3 hurricane.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So it kind of makes sense. It was really windy.
We didn't even lose power.
No, I know. Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
So the farm update would not be complete without an update on Fancy. So Fancy's fine. She's got a real spring in her step because now I've started feeding her. There's what we call creep feed if you're a farmer. So if you have young lambs, when they start to, within about 10 days, actually, they'll start eating solid food, and you give them like a supplement. It's a little kibble it's known as creep feed. So high protein and, probably fat, like for energy and stuff like that. So Fancy she still has her teeth, because we went in and checked, and we still did a little bit of investigation. She still has her teeth, but I think they're not meshing properly. So she's probably lost a couple on the top and a couple on the bottom, and it's making it so she can't really chew like strong hay very well. So we figured these little kibbles are little tiny ones, because they're for little lammy mouths. So we've started giving her that, and she's kind of perked right up.
Quite happy.
Yes. Except that she still likes to eat her hay, and she's not very efficient about chewing it. So every time we have to give her the creep feed, Ken has to put his fingers in her mouth and pull out a hank of hay. He loves it. And we thought about you, Betsy. We thought that would be a job that you would really love. Yeah.
No. I love animals.
Yeah.
I love the idea of farm animals.
Yeah.
But I know just too much about farming to become one.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no Hollywood glamour.
I do not live under any illusions. I have been surrounded by it enough in my lifetime to know what is for me and what is not.
Yeah, exactly. But we did actually say this morning, this is a job that Betsy would love. Half digested hay with stuff stuck in it. Anyway, so we have to kind of clean out. I think it's kind of like in between her cheek and her jaw. So she's eating, because if she wasn't eating, she wouldn't be here after all these weeks.
Yeah.
She's eating, but she's just not very, very efficient. And so we clean that out a couple of times a day, actually. So, yeah. Anyway, so that's fun, but she's still there. And like I said, once we got the creep feed, she's actually got some kind of little spring in her step again. So that's good. So, and there's not much we can do. Like, you're not going to call the dentist and do orthodonty or endodonty or whatever. It's whatever on a sheep. Like, that's so anyway. And she doesn't seem to be, other than the fact that she was starting to lose weight. Now she'll start gaining it back a bit, and she might be good to go. She's not stiff or anything. So she's, so she's pretty mobile. She was just a little thin. So anyway. All right, so that's it. Anything other exciting things with you guys? No? Your snowplow didn't run into the lamppost this time, like the last storm? No? Excellent.
We've been skating in the harbor. Oh, that's fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
We did do that on Islanders Day.
Oh,
we went
okay.
to our local rink. We did some skating.
Yeah.
I was surprised at first how unattended it was, and then I remembered, there's snow blowing sideways.
And you guys are there.
We live really close, so it wasn't a big deal for us. But if I had lived any further, I wouldn't have ventured out. So,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, so I think we're going to do just a little tiny shop update, because we wanted to remind people about something that we had that you come into the store in the fall. And it was a new yarn by Rowan called Pure Alpaca, which is absolutely beautiful. And they had a really nice book of patterns that went with it called Softly Tailored Knits. Looks like this. And the only problem was that they didn't send the book. So it was weeks and weeks and weeks before the book arrived. And we think that the whole line kind of lost steam. So there was a lot of enthusiasm, and then it just kind of completely died. And I don't blame, it's right. When you don't have any patterns that are written for the yarn and you can't get the book, then, it's going to just kind of fizzle out. So I did want to just take a little bit of time to talk about this. So we do have the books and we have the yarn, and Simone, you picked out a couple of colors. They're beautiful. There's jewel tones, and they're like kind of high intensity colors, and then there's some soft colors as well. It's just a gorgeous yarn. And some people have asked a question about, is it going to stretch? It's 100% alpaca, and these patterns have been designed with that yarn, so they have structure to them so that you don't really need to worry about stretching and things like that. And we decided to talk about it again because it's kind of like the perfect transitional kind of garment. It's very soft. Alpaca is warm, But if you want, there's some really cute little cardigans. I'll show some pictures while we're talking. There's some really cute little cardigans in this book, and other sweaters like shirts or whatever. And if you want something in that kind of transitional, not like a heavy sweater, but something in between, we think that this would be a really great yarn.
What came to mind for me, I know that for those of us who are venturing into the sewist world as well, which there seems to be lots of crossover happening, which is fantastic. The hinterland dress is a very popular pattern out there.
Okay, do we have to show it? How will we be able to show it?
It is an online pattern, I think. Do you remember?
Liberated.
So Liberated. Yeah. And it has multiple variations of how you can put it together. So I'm picturing a hinterland dress, maybe like a sleeveless version of it with one of those cute little cardigans over it, or even the full length sleeve where you just still need that extra little bit of layer, but you're just jonesing to get into your dresses. So I think that's a fantastic idea.
Good. So that's it. So we just wanted to draw that to your attention, and we're going to we had some beautiful rosewood. We had some beautiful cherry wood buttons made for us from Snowy Thistle Knits. And so we have those in stock. There's 30 different motifs that were done. They're just gorgeous, and they are going to make an appearance in just a second on Simone's project. We'll take a picture close up to them. So we have all of those motifs in stock. So if you're looking for buttons, that's a good option as well.
And they come in packs of 3.
Yes. So it's the pack. Okay, now Betsy's
showing.
shopping.
Of that one right there. She's got her buttons. Right
Single.
there.
Nice. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so that's a good segue into our projects. So
I'm finding them all over now.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we'll talk about our projects. So we'll let Simone go last because that'll lead right into finished objects. Yep. So Betsy's wearing something that hasn't made an appearance in a while.
Are we talking about what we're wearing?
Yes.
Or the projects?
Yes.
Okay. So I have, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel like the weather. No. Yeah. I like a little bit of winter. We all know this if you've been watching for any length of time. Winter gets long real fast for me, so I'm done with it. Anyway, so For Fuck's Sake by Max and Sear, and it's a top-down circular yoke color work, which is made out of our Selkirk worsted. So it's cozy. I don't wear it as often because we actually have the window open.
Yes, today for some reason it's like
So, and I know I sit next to it, so I was like, well, I can have it on today. Yeah, because ittle be cold out there today.
And you have cute little earrings that match it exactly.
Made by a local lady whose name is slipping through my mind, but they're beaded.
Yes,
they're very
nice.
Yeah,
and,
cute.
And it even has little blue highlights on it.
Little flowers.
Yeah,
she's wearing the fox is wearing a floral garland.
Ah, okay, yes. All right, excellent. And I'm wearing my Tungsten, which is a design. I don't know why I can never remember who the person is. Anyway, I'll write it down here on the thing. I've said it like 1,000 times, and it is knit in Rowan felted tweed, and it's just this lovely riff on Argyle, which is it was in their magazine number 70, which was an anniversary magazine, and we used to have kits, but now you'd have to buy the yarn yourself. But it's a really nice sweater.
A little bit.
Yeah, just a little. It's a classic design. Like once you knit a few Rowan patterns, depending on who the designer is, you do get used to the fact that they're kind of familiar after that. So so anyway, it's good.
And you get a lot of wear out of that sweater too.
I get a lot of wear out of it. And felted tweed is it feels like it's thin when you compared to like the other yarns, like woolly yarns that we use, but it has just the right warmth to it, I find. Yeah,
it's probably because they sneak a little bit of that alpaca in.
Yeah, exactly. And Simone,
I am wearing my finished Jethro.
Yay!
So I'm really happy with it, and it's got its cute little cherry wood buttons all sewn on. I was a good girl, and I did them all myself. I didn't ask Kirby to do it for me.
What, does Kirby usually have to sew your butt? Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
I did not know that.
He usually sews my buttons for me because I'm just like, I'm done with the knitting. The fun part's over.
Oh,
That's awesome.
okay.
But yeah, I picked out the Celtic design of the cherrywood buttons, one of the Celtic designs.
Yeah, we
There's
have
several.
seven different Celtic motifs.
And I think it suits it perfectly.
Yes,
But
it looks really great.
very happy with the finished sweater. I didn't go with the shawl collar because I ran out of yarn.
Yeah.
And the point of this was to use yarn that I had on hand. And
You're so disciplined.
now I've got a big hole in my stash that I can refill.
Oh, do you?
Yes.
Yes.
Because that's the way it works. So if I knit something from stash, then I get to buy more yarn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great.
So
And you used up quite a bit, I guess.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Because I think it was about 50-ish grams for each one of the colors for the squares.
Yeah.
And I used 6 different colors of Selkirk worsted for that. And then I had several balls of Selkirk worsted in slate. And I used that for the, the outside portion of the squares and then the sleeves and the bands.
Right. It's really, really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to get a lot of wear out of it.
Yeah. Excellent.
And I see that cardigan popping up in people's 2025, what I'm going to knit plans.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
It was fun to do the mix of crochet and knit together as well.
Yeah.
Because it's not something I've done a whole lot of. And now I'm like, oh, what else can I make?
Yeah.
Well, I would say my experience with crochet, getting a neat and functional ribbing out of crochet, it's not impossible, but it's tricky.
Oh, okay.
So I love that the parts that really need the knitting
Right.
is where they incorporated it as
Yeah.
well. And just then you have those like nice, you can make the sleeves fit, right? As opposed to having to fit a square to your arm with the knitting.
Right.
You can fit
Yes.
the way
Yes.
you need it to. So I think it's a really great combination.
And, you know, it also updates a granny square garment. Like it is a modern twist on which I'll talk about more when I talk about what I've been crocheting. But, and the designer is
Tanis
Ba-
Fibre Arts.
Tanis
Fibre
Fibre Arts.
Yeah.
So I
Did that
have
for a
to say,
minute
I mean, the design is great, but I have to say she did the model in like more muted colors. It really, this will be good because you have a kind of a soft pastel-y color version to look at. And did you update your Ravelry
No.
thread? Okay.
No, because I
So
haven't
you should
taken any pictures of it yet,
Yes.
aside from the buttons.
Yeah. So
but yeah, I'll have
when
to
you
get
do
some photos.
that, because then that'll show people like what it looks like in these
Yeah.
beautiful.
And it was
Tunnel
funny because
jewel
whenever I
tones.
saw it first, it was at the Fibre Festival.
Yeah.
And one of the people that was attending the festival had it done all in like really bright colors and then like light speckles.
Oh,
And I
okay.
totally fell in love with it, but I was
Okay.
like, I'm going to do it in autumnal. So
Yeah,
I have to
of course.
get that pattern.
Yeah.
So,
It's
yeah.
really, really gorgeous and fits you perfectly by the looks of
I'm
it.
happy. And
Yeah.
I even have like little roll cuffs.
Yeah.
So,
So did you plan for those?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I
Nice.
actually knit the sleeves a little bit longer than recommended
Right.
because I wanted to be able to roll the cuffs, and I mean I shove them up anyway,
Yeah.
so it doesn't really matter, but
Yeah.
it gives
Okay.
me the option of nice cozy
Excellent.
hands.
And are they knit in the round?
Yes.
The sleeves? Okay. Yeah. Nice. Nice. All right. So, and then who's your father?
It's finished.
If you want to have a whole big yarn about who's your father, you can watch episode 166, the previous episode.
Yeah.
But okay,
So I finished the Who's Your Father cowl.
okay,
So there's the front, and then the back it says Luke, I am your father.
I always, every time I do the editing, when we see something here that we can see, we pick it off, and nobody can
There's a
see
very
it.
good reason for that.
What?
I had it blocking, and I went into our bedroom later, and Simpkin was laying right across it.
Oh, yeah, but I don't
like,
think
"Get
it's
out of
kind. I
here."
think
No,
it's a
that's
little bit of hay.
hay.
Yeah.
So this is the, I'm going to say it, Darth Vader inspired cowl for my son.
Okay.
He really wanted it, so I designed one for him,
Yeah.
and he's going to wear it with pride.
Yeah. Has he tried it on?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah, he's
and
pretty excited about
In
it.
the Wild Winds. So that's black and cranberry, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it takes almost a full ball of the cranberry, and if you're a looser knitter, I would say it takes more than a full ball of the black,
Oh, okay.
because I was just just squeaking out the last, like the bind off row.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a good knit. It used up most of the yarn.
Right.
So
okay.
that's kind of nice. There's nothing.
So you wouldn't
over.
recommend that they get another ball. It's just that you need to be conscious of your floats probably and stuff.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So I am going to put it up on Ravelry. We'll see how long it stays. So by the time this is released, it'll be available on my Ravelry.
So don't search for the D word.
No.
It's who's your father.
Who's your father?
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, that's a little tongue-in-cheek idiosyncrasy from PEI.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So who's your father?
Not because the person doesn't know who's their father is.
No, it's the Islander way. We're trying to figure out
what family line they come from.
Exactly. Yeah, if there's any connection.
Yes. When you have like 5 last names, then they're not necessarily related. Like, multiple families of McDonald's, multiple families of Campbell's, then you're trying to figure out which line of that same last name. Yeah.
So, I mean, when there's generation after generation of the same, families here, it's bound to go, which one are you?
Yeah, exactly. So
I'll send a shout out to my people. You'll know who you are if you know that it's all about your Freundschaft.
Okay.
We'll just leave it at that.
Because you have a German background.
Pennsylvania Dutch.
Yeah, exactly. So they have the same issue. And in fact, somebody wrote on the comments when we were talking about it in episode 166 that so anywhere that there's like a little like small community that was settled by the original group of people and then they stayed there, then that's any place. So it could be from any immigrants that would have came. It's the same thing. So anyway.
Although because it totally makes sense. This land, sometimes I stop and think about it. Like we look out at February and I go, my goodness, some people were brave.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hardy and brave.
So it would have required, clinging together at times as a community
helping
to literally survive this landscape.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
which, it's still, that's why I think you're from here and not from far away from where we are today. But for me, and I think the same for you, is that we searched out that small community on purpose because of all of the joys there are of that. And so and that's why we talk about it all the time, because you do, even here, like people have to stick together sometimes, even with all our modern conveniences and things like that. So yeah. So if your neighbor has a tractor and you don't, then that comes, it pays to be neighborly.
That's why I'm here today. Otherwise I'd still be at home.
Pays to be neighborly. All right. And so Simone, you have a whole list. So we're in, that was 2. So now we want to just talk about the thick and quick mittens.
Yes.
Okay. So the thick and quick mittens that became famous like 4 episodes ago. Yeah. So this is the original thick and quick mitten.
Yep. The very first pair that I made.
Right.
And
they look good.
I had to do some repair work.
Yeah.
Because these do everything. They carry in wood, they shovel snow, they clean off the car, they go on hikes with me and runs. So they get a little beat up. I even lift weights outside in the winter sometimes. So I wear my mittens and
we're not laughing at you, Simone. We're laughing at ourselves.
And it kind of wears on the thumb a bit. So I ended up having to reknit the whole thumb and then patch here. And I noticed that I'm going to have to do the same here.
So you patch before you actually get a hole.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the key.
That's
and
I mean, you can darn it if you want to, but it's so thick. That it just makes more sense to do. So
what did you do? You knit a patch.
Knit a little patch.
So you just pick up stitches. There's like tons of
tutorials
online now, and it doesn't matter. These are work mittens, but that's amazing how
they really hold up.
Yeah.
Very, very nice.
Yeah. So how many seasons would you have been wearing these?
I think I knit them in 2020.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And she's not kidding. Like you do a lot of like bringing in wood and things like that. So and you're out every single day and
If the apocalypse comes, I'm going to Simone's house. Just so you know. Because I think I've been my best chance of survival.
Yeah, exactly. We're a little soft.
Just a little.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm kind of getting soft myself because of the car. I have heated seats, heated steering wheel.
Oh.
I'm getting soft too.
Yeah, but you do have muscles. I'm thinking
Which we're going to need for the zombies.
Oh,
Yeah.
so,
And you're definitely going to be, the one that's going to be the healthiest.
Well, I figure she still owns an axe.
Yes.
So,
we have
know,
access.
like,
So
do
we
you
can
know
help
what to
you.
do with it?
I think so. I've seen
Okay.
it being used. Ken knows what to do with it.
There we go.
That's
All right.
Yeah,
Matthew will take care of it.
I'm actually pretty useless, but anyway, I'm a thinker.
you're a thinker.
Yeah.
Yes. You and I will be excellent to stand around and give directions.
Yes. I'm good at that. Or making suggestions.
You make
wouldn't
the
it be great if
suggestion.
you- yeah.
I'll figure out how to do it fastest.
Yeah.
And then we'll have those who can actually anyway.
Do something.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Back to the podcast.
It's all true though. Okay. All right. So thick and quick, and these mittens are available. The pattern is available for free on your blog.
Yes.
So it's not like an official pattern. It's
No.
just something that you did for yourself. And then
Exactly.
so many people asked for it. You
Yeah.
wrote it out. So that's it. So
Yeah. So it's on the blog, and it's free. You can download it, or not download it. You can just view it.
Yeah.
And knit yourself some quick and thick mittens. So.
yes. And if you want to print it, you can do a screenshot and print it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
And she's not writing it over again and
No.
putting it on Ravelry.
No.
So it's just something fun that she did for herself, and everybody wanted it. So that's it. And I knit 2 pairs of them for Christmas
They're fast.
gifts. They are thick and quick, and they are magical because they seem to fit everybody. Yeah.
I keep intending to, but
Yeah.
I'm just a little tied up in other things right
Yes.
now.
got other
Okay,
projects
which we'll
on
see.
the go.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so you're going to notice what I did here with the agenda. So
Yes.
then the last thing that you're going to talk about is your
Leaves it.
sewing, and then Betsy's going to start with her sewing.
Oh,
See what I did there?
Well done.
Yeah.
See,
See,
Why
I'm
we've got
thinking.
our director.
Actually, I have one more thing to show progress on.
Oh,
Go ahead.
okay. Because you had a storm
people
day
haven't
yesterday?
seen this in a long time.
Oh, right.
right.
I forgot to put it on. I should.
So
Yeah.
Yes.
I only have one ball attached now, which is amazing.
Oh,
Okay.
wow. Okay.
I started on the edging of
Oh, my
Ryu.
goodness. How long
So
is this cord? Oh, no. It's multiple cords.
I had
Okay.
multiple cords in it. So,
Okay.
Yep, I've gotten started on the edging. It's going to take a while, but the pattern is really easy to memorize. I should say this is Ryu by Jennifer Beal, and it's knit in our Ryu sock kit, or Ryu shawl kit.
Yeah.
I can't talk.
And we've got a couple of them in stock, right, Betsy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Because there's like 12 colors.
Yes, there's a lot of
I think
colors.
there's 14.
I think
14
14.
colors. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a kit.
Actually, if we take a look, nope. Okay, it just says 8 on that one.
Okay.
Because I labeled all my balls.
Oh,
No
okay.
worries.
Okay.
So I finished the knitting ages ago, and I was putting off knitting, like picking up the stitches for the edging because it required so much concentration.
Yeah.
So finally I decided, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and do this. And I have to say that, Star asked me a question about it, and I'm like, I haven't done it yet, so I
Oh.
should probably get cracking.
Yeah.
So anyway, I decided I was just going to take an afternoon, and I was going to sit down and I was going to pick up the stitches. And I went into my bedroom and I told everybody to leave me alone.
How many
And-
stitches is it?
I don't know how many times I had to kick Kirby out. I was
Yeah.
like, do you value your marriage?
Yes.
You should probably stay out of this room right now because I am counting.
Yeah. How many stitches is it?
It's a lot.
But you do it in sections?
Yes.
Okay.
So
It's not all one go.
No.
Okay.
These stitches were held in reserve, and then you have to pick up stitches all along.
Okay. So still quite a lot. Yeah.
And then after you're finished, I think you pick up on the wings on the underside.
Okay. Which you haven't done yet.
No.
Okay.
And then, it's a lot easier to kind of go around.
But you've got
after
a
that.
cord in there, I see.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there's cords in.
Down
sections.
there. Okay,
Oh,
so
okay.
across here will be all like straight picking up. Do you do along here too? Yeah. So it goes all the way around.
All the way around.
Okay.
Yeah.
And am I right in thinking it's a little lace pattern?
It is.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it'll look better once it's blocked.
Yeah.
But
As all lacy things do. Oh yeah. So it looks
Although,
like it's pretty.
It's
I don't want to say it's not simple, but it's the knitting itself is simple. It's the wow. It's
I
just
mind the as it just kind of curls around too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to actually show the lace off, yes, you want to block it.
Yeah. Oh, because it's got little picots too.
Yeah, almost.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. All right.
So are you gonna pin each one of those little?
I haven't decided how I'm gonna block this monster for the final block
because it's you would use a wire.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Of
right.
wires. So
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, we also have cool wires. Do you want to pass that to me, Ken? So if anybody hasn't seen these
are neat.
Yeah. So traditionally you would have stiff wires that you can buy to do lace work shawl, and then but then this little thing I always think it's going to be like a slinky. Yeah. So it's a little kit, and I'm not going to take the wires all the way out because then I'll be so you've got 4 of these nylon coated wires in here, and they're perfect for this kind of thing because you can bend them and weave them in through all the little picots and everything, and then you've just got the T-pins. So
and those are neat too because you can curve them because they're flexible. So if you have like scalloped edges along the bottom of your shawl, you can bend it to get the proper shape. Yeah.
So really nice. Okay.
So blocking it will be interesting, and I'm sure it will come back with some orange cat fur on it because Simkin will help.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. But
so how are you feeling about it?
I love it.
Are you motivated now?
Yes.
So are you going to keep knitting on it, or is it going to take time out?
It's still going to need a little time for the pickups, so I'm going to need...
You have to get remotivated to pick up the next...
I just need quiet, really. To tell you the truth, I just need quiet, and I very rarely get that.
Yeah. So, okay.
So if the bathroom door is closed for a significant amount of time, we'll just assume that Simone is picking up stitches on her reel.
Yeah. That's right.
Barricade myself in the bathroom.
Yeah. Oh, it's just lovely though. It feels really nice too.
It's so silky and soft.
Yeah. Okay. So this design was originally designed using an advent calendar kit that I will put the name down below of where it came from because that was the inspiration. So those colors were limited edition colors. So we just loved the project so much, and Simone wanted to knit it. Yeah. So Betsy dyed colors that were similar to the ones, it's not exact, but similar in our sock yarn. So and it really is not fair to have somebody have to buy full skeins of sock yarn to make it because then nobody would knit it. So we've given you enough to do. And when you knit with it, did you have like a comfortable amount left of every color? Yeah. I'm
thinking I can probably make some nice like fingerless knits.
As
a leftovers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
nice.
That will be the next little challenge because I should have brought my basket. I still have everything in a little basket.
I love that little basket. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent. Well, we're glad to see it back.
Yeah. It's only been 2 years since.
Well,
I
that's
started
okay. What's up? 2 years for a project?
It's one of those like heirloom projects.
It is.
That's, you've got everything in there.
I always find that with her shawls, because I've knit a couple of them now, that they do take me a little bit of time just because I need to concentrate sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's hard to concentrate when people are talking at you.
And, when you put it down for a while, it just gets harder and harder to pick it up because where was I? So that would be something like my Wallflowers that I'm going to show next, but, or when it's my turn. But excellent. Okay. But it is fun when you get going on it. It's the inertia that's hard to overcome. But once you get going on it, you remember why you love the project.
And the thought of having to pick up stitches is always worse than actually doing it.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it's been that way for me forever, where I'm like, oh, I have to pick up stitches. Oh no. Yeah. And I'm fine once I get going. Yeah. And the little tricks that I've picked up for myself is, if it's a larger section of stitches that I have to pick up, I divide it down into little pieces. Yeah. And I put a little stitch marker, so I need 10 here, 10 here, 10 here. Yeah. So that way, if I make
one more section, you can one more section.
Easy to go back and fix it. So
yeah.
where I just abandoned trying to pick up stitches with knitting needles, and I go straight for my crochet hook.
Oh, that's smart.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I have like right down to teeny tiny crochet hooks, so I can get into the lace weight stuff too.
Yeah.
I think because I'm a tight knitter, I fear that I'm gonna, like, I don't know, snap the yarn or something.
Oh,
I don't know. I just cannot get. It might also have to do with the fact that I'm a left-handed person knitting right-handed. That movement is not friendly for me.
Okay.
So anyway, the crochet hook works.
Why would you think you were going to break the yarn? Because the stitches became tighter on the cord?
I think so. Or something. And I'm just like, I feel like I'm almost having to twist things to get it. I don't know. It just, and I also, like, every time I sit down, and it's not automatic which direction I should go to pick them up. I think one time I even picked up stitches and realized this is backwards.
Oh, okay.
Like for knitting. It's not, I think I figured it out. It wasn't that big of a deal because I just flipped the project around. But still, like, it just, every time I have to concentrate really hard about, now which way does this actually pick up?
That
so
actually happened.
Solves all that.
Yeah, so it actually happened to me because I picked up my Wallflowers, and I had finished. I don't know. I must have gotten interrupted in the middle of one of the flowers, and I was completely lost. When I went to look, I'm like, what? How did I do this backwards? And it was one that I'll show it to you later, but it had one that had through the back loop section, and then I was like, is this the front or the back? I don't know. So I ended up ripping out till I knew exactly where I was. But that's kind of like, you're going to do it. I thought I was just going to pick it up and start doing it. And I was like, now I have to do this, which took me 5 minutes, like, really, to be honest.
It's hard when we have to think and get our brain going again sometimes like that, because it's just, it's going to be so easy. And it's like, no, it's really not.
Because you left it so long. That's what in my case, that was what it was. Then you even forgot how to crochet. Not really, but all right. So,
sewing project and then Betsy.
Yeah. Oh.
So I
okay.
finished it. Oh, I was going to bring the book too. I forgot.
Okay.
So this is a project from Quilted Alchemy by Farm and Folk. I don't know her actual name. That's her Instagram name. And it's called the Variable Star Quilted Satchel. And I made this out of fabric that was gifted to me by Joanne.
Yeah. What, she gave you a lot of fabric.
She gave me a lot of fabric. And
it's got pockets in it and a zipper.
I know. I looked.
I'm going to turn it inside out.
Sure.
Okay. Sorry, I just co-opted your whole thing. Go ahead. Keep talking.
I made just about every mistake humanly possible with this bag.
That's how you get good.
That is exactly what I was thinking. It's all a learning experience.
My grandmother used to say, no one learned to sail on a calm sea.
So with the zipper, I put everything together. I sewed the liner in the bag. I top stitched it. And then I opened the zipper and there was no lining in there.
Oh,
no.
So I had to take it all apart. And I was like, how am I going to do this? Is there a way I can do it without having to rip that seam? No, I'm sure there is, but I didn't know how to do it. So I just, I let it sit and time out for the night. And then I get up the next morning and I'm like, I'm just going to rip the seam.
Wow.
So
it's impeccable.
It's not bad.
Yeah, nice. I like some is zigzag and some is.
That's also to cover a mistake.
It is?
Yes.
Oh.
So whenever she teaches you in the book how to make these quarters and half squares, I didn't follow the directions correctly. So I just stacked all my piece squares after ironing, and whenever I sandwiched them to do the seams, one was the wrong way. So I ended up with raw edges.
So she
everywhere.
Needed her right sides facing.
Yeah.
And she wouldn't have had that. She would have had them stacked. So instead of the right sides facing. So one of them ended up with the seam out.
Oh, okay.
So I just made it a design element.
Well,
I top stitched over all of it with a zigzag.
And did you have to do it on some that didn't even need it?
No, because they all needed it.
Oh, they all. That's right.
I was consistent.
Okay, excellent.
It's beautiful. I think it's great. I love it.
And
And-
this is the
And
back.
were you thinking to yourself, oh yeah, she had to pick that out?
No. I just went with it. And
Yeah.
also, this is the back. I can tell because this little square is out of place. It's rotated. I should have rotated it 90 degrees. So if you look at the front.
Oh, okay. Oh God. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, who would know?
Me.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
But yeah, it was a really fun project. It took me a couple of days. It was more just, wanting to make sure that I wasn't, cutting it wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's one thing about fabric that kind of freaks me out a little bit. With yarn, you can usually start a project. If you don't like it, you can pull it all out.
Yeah.
Whereas with fabric, once you cut that, it's cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you discovered some kind of new design element.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent.
So yeah, it was a fun project, and thank you, Joanne, for all the fabric. I'm
Yeah.
still working my way through that bag.
You still have more?
Yes.
Okay.
I started on another one, and
Yeah.
I was telling Betsy this one has a little birdhouse fussy cut
Sounds so
with
cute.
Oh.
robins, and then the one for the back has hummingbirds.
Oh,
So
nice.
cute. So
Okay.
cute.
We're big bird watchers around
Yeah.
here. Yeah.
I should tell you guys about that. So there is a family. I thought they were quails, but I don't know that quails even live on PEI. But I did some more research, and a little family they're called gray partridges
Yeah.
that have been living around on my property. And when you look out, they just look like lumps of gray stone, or like maybe
okay.
snow that fell off the truck tire or
Yeah.
something. So the one day I was staring at them, and I'm watching, like, are they moving? Those things, are they moving? Okay, Betsy, this is crazy. You're looking to see if rocks are moving. And then I went away to do something in the kitchen. I came back and I'm like, that is definitely a different formation. So I paid attention. Then I went out to go see, and of course they took off.
Yeah.
But I think it's called, as they gather together in the winter, it's called a covey, a
Oh,
covey.
okay.
And their covey has been growing, not because they're having babies at this time of year, but because they're just collecting more of them.
Oh, okay.
And now they have a spot that gathers right along the side of the road, just past my lane. And I think at some point, a truck, like a grain tractor, came out in the fall and probably dumped.
Could be salt too.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they're definitely nibbling off the side of the road. But as soon as you drive by, they don't bother to fly. They just their little legs come out and they run up and over the ditch and they hide and they wait till you're gone and then they come walking back out again.
Oh.
They're so cute. And
So
they
how
have-
big are they?
They're they look like this. I'm not sure how much of them is poof.
Okay. So that's different than, because we have grouse here,
Yeah,
which
it's
we
not
call
ours.
partridge. We call them
Okay.
partridge, but
Yeah.
they're not.
No.
They're not.
No, we
partridge
definitely
to
looked
birds.
it up on the internet, and it's
Cool.
they
Yeah.
look like a ball with a head and feet.
Oh,
So we're going to have to
they're
look that up in our
so
Merlin
cute.
app.
I know.
Yeah,
How,
they're so
have you
cute.
seen one of those before?
Not that I noticed.
No.
Well,
me
I
either.
know exactly where you can see them.
You've been
Yeah.
finding
Yeah.
some cool stuff
I have
because
been.
you had the American
Kestrel,
Kestrel.
who
Yeah.
actually nested in a hole in our garage 2 summers ago. We patched the hole up so the poor thing
Yeah.
didn't come
Yeah.
back. But you think
I
you
saw
her? Yeah.
I saw one of them anyway.
Yeah.
I was just turning up there on a road and one flew over, and as soon as I got to work, I texted my friend Jim, who's a avid birder. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, what is this bird?
Yeah.
It's a raptor of some sort.
Yeah.
I
but-
think
Yeah.
and I looked up when we had it. They belong to the falcon
Yeah.
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then there's the whatever it was that I saw.
Yeah,
the other
we still
the
haven't
day
figured
we
it
just
out.
haven't figured out what it, because what it seems most like it would
It's
be
not here
here.
in the winter time.
Yeah, exactly. So it was that. And I was driving, what road was I on? I think I was on the number 3 going to Montague, and I saw this huge, beautiful ringneck pheasant. They're quite common here,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I was not, I came over the bluff and I was like,
There it
oh,
is.
okay,
Yeah.
there he was. I think they're coming to the road, they can,
Pick up.
yeah, whatever.
I
it is.
had one as a little friend for a while. He was a wild one.
Yeah.
And he took a liking to me. I think it might have been my pink pants. And I used to have him follow me.
Oh.
We would go for walks.
Oh.
And he got used to my schedule, and he would go up and wait for me.
Really?
And we would walk all the way down Mashins Point right till we got to the Fisherman's Co-op, but there was a lot of forklifts and stuff. He didn't like those,
Yeah.
so he'd sit there and go make noises until I walked to the end of the road.
Did you
came
feed him?
back,
No?
and then he'd followed me home.
Oh.
Yeah,
So
he did it over and over and over again for a whole spring. I've got some really cute pictures of
Oh,
him.
wow.
awesome.
Okay. Cool. Okay. Well, that's it. We got completely off the track.
Yeah.
This is okay. Great.
So
now
bird
you-
bag is coming.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I like that it's got a nice long strap on it too.
And it's quilted. I put
Yes.
some batting in it.
Yeah,
for sturdiness.
exactly. Nice.
Yeah,
So
it's a
now
fun
what are you
project.
working? Is this the end?
2.0.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the so is this it for the community school class?
No,
or,
we had. I think we're going to go right till the end of March.
Okay.
We have some makeup classes because it's been storming on Monday
Right.
nights. But we're going to do quilt blocks next week, I believe,
Mhm.
and then little roll up shopping bags
Oh,
with a
okay.
button,
Oh, okay.
and lots of fun, useful projects.
I think you took what you were learning and you've now run ahead of the class.
Because that is a
That
quilt
is a
block.
quilted, yeah.
Okay, excellent. So we're going to start with Betsy's
Sure.
quilt.
Okay, so I had showed you.
So this is tradition. Sorry, this
Yep.
is traditional sewing machine. You didn't do any of the piecing by hand. It was all on the machine. And Betsy's got her English paper piecing.
Yeah, so I had showed you the one or two, can't remember, pieces that I had last time put together.
Right.
So now I put it together in, this is specifically, I'm going to use it for cross stitching.
Yes.
So more of an envelope project bag
Right.
as opposed to a knitting one that you might want some more
Yeah.
with. And it's, just a lined
nice.
bag
Yeah.
inside. And I wanted kind of just a smooth inside because I figure pushing my stitching in and out.
Yeah. And this is no batting in between.
I did not. It called
Yeah.
for interfacing, but I didn't bother because this English paper piecing has so many seams. It has a natural sort of weighty and stiffness to it.
Exactly.
So, and I didn't want to actually quilt the little pieces.
Right.
So,
It's amazing. So
Sewing is so perfect.
I know it's amazing.
Thank
So if you can't, you'll take a picture.
Yes.
But so if you haven't seen it before, each of these little hexagons is hand pieced.
Yeah, hand stitched
Yeah,
together.
hand
And I'm
stitched together.
like jonesing to do more, but I had to go through my sewing closet, which I just like. I had a stash, not extensive. I'm not an extensive stash person, but it was several fabrics that had kind of collected that had been sitting around there. They had been used for a project, but like we're talking 15 years or something collection. So I'd go and I'd look and I'd be like, I have made so many things out of that same fabric.
Yeah.
So I decided to just pass that along to a couple of kids from the church and they can do whatever they want and just start fresh
Right.
with new fabrics because I'm just
Okay.
ready to have some new fabrics.
Oh,
so
nice.
I don't
Beautiful.
know if I'm going to go purchase the new or I don't know. Part of me would love to find just like, I don't even old, maybe like shirts or something,
Yeah.
cotton shirts.
Yeah.
It's cotton specifically, I think that I want to use because for English paper piecing, you need something that will still fold fairly well. So anyway, I don't know, but I am
Nice.
definitely jonesing for more.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
gorgeous.
And my
Yeah.
daughter saw it and she's like, oh, who's that for? So who's that for? And I said, well, this has a plan. She said, well, it'd be perfect this summer for traveling to put like all my bits and pieces of toiletries and stuff in them. And I said, well, would you like to learn? No.
Oh,
I was
So
like, well, then no promises. Yeah, then no promises.
yeah. Nice.
So,
Very nice. Oh,
She'd be
maybe.
fully capable.
Yeah.
I was the same way. I didn't start really making anything till I was about 19. My sister used to always try to like get me going on something. And I was like, no.
Well, I don't know if I really, you were forced to do the quilts. But you were, because you did one when you were quite young.
Oh, that
Was
was
it?
yes. No,
Yeah.
that was like snow day. So the thing at our house was if I would go to my mom and say I'm bored.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, there's dishes, there's laundry, whatever. She'd come up with a chore. So it
Okay.
was either do the chores or she got me started on my first
Oh,
quilt.
okay. Okay.
So I think it kept me busy
yeah.
on
Okay.
PD days and stuff. That was I was known for being the kid that one of my first full sentences was, Mommy, I'm bored.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm bored. So she would get me to do things like that.
Oh,
so,
okay.
So that one
Busy work.
quilt I started at 11.
Yeah,
I worked on
that's
for
what
a
I
couple
thought.
of years.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
just sewing
Yeah.
little squares together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Depending on how often you were bored. That's what that
That's
was the
pretty much
pace.
it.
That was the
Yeah.
pace of it. Okay.
Yeah. Because it was either that or dishes or something like cooking. Or I was like,
Not
no.
fun things. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So then Matthew's jacket's next on the
okay,
list.
sure. So, not super exciting. I warned you folks that the knitting I was doing this year is pretty simple, straightforward knitting. So I got the front right sides or left, it doesn't really matter, sides. This one is done up to where I need to do the color work.
Okay.
And this one is on its way.
Yeah.
So it's just to remind you, it's it'll be a dressier hiking jacket with probably a zipper up the front. So these are the two front panels. This piece here that's curling is actually like I think they call that interfacing? Facing.
Yep.
Okay. To fold up and in.
And this is going to be the contrast color for the argyle.
For the color work.
Yeah.
A little bit of argyle color work. And we were discussing how low to start it. And what we did is we looked at a website for Dale of Norway sweaters, which has all kinds of color work men's sweaters. I think those are machine knit, but it still just gave us the idea of, okay, if you start here, what it looks like, if you start lower, so it gave him a picture to see where it will sit across his chest.
Yeah.
So we've decided to start the color work immediately at the underarm.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. So a narrower.
It'll be a bit narrower
than some of the yokes that you see today.
If I was doing it on a feminine shape, I probably wouldn't start right there because it would cut like right across.
Yeah.
But for a male, it should be be good. And
excellent.
we verified it by other designs.
Yeah. So and this is
it's
a light worsted.
It's a light, quite a light worsted.
So
it's just
I think we've said it before, but it's a worsted batch that turned out light.
Yeah.
So we weren't able to sell it in the store as worsted. Yeah. So it's kind of like just on the verge of decay, I would say. So very fine knitting.
For Matthew, who wanted a finer, and he's having me doing it quite a tight gauge. So I think I'm on 2.75, whatever the smallest in the
2.75.
Yeah, 2.75.
Yeah.
So it feels slower in comparison to the other project I'm working on, but it's actually not that slow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
It's perfect.
And you already have the back done.
Back is done.
Yeah. So you're there.
I'm working on a calendar this year. So some people have knitting. What are they called? Knitting journals, but I couldn't quite get into that. So all I've done is just taken, I think it's the local insurance company's free calendar they send out. And I'm just putting notes on it on each month, what I've completed, and at the end of the month, have some sort of loose set goals of where I want each project to be. And I'm enjoying that. Just
the cross stitchers are big on that.
Yeah,
the calendars.
Really, yes. Yeah, but
no, I'm not that's a whole thing in itself.
I'm not counting how many stitches I put in.
No, or stickers.
No, none of that. But just it is fun to kind of keep track, because sometimes you feel like you're not making progress.
Yeah.
But then I look back, I'm like, oh my goodness, I only started that 12 days ago.
Yeah.
Here I felt I wasn't doing much, but that was only 12 days ago. So
Okay.
So it's fun to just mark my progress.
All right. Excellent. And then there's the Weasley sweater, because now I've done the same thing with Betsy that I did with you and Betsy. Is that she's going to talk about crochet, which will lead into my crochet.
So I'm making out of the Harry Potter Knitting Magic, the first book, the Weasley Sweater by Tanis Gray, I think is who that book is by. So this is the front panel for my daughter's sweater. This is the second Weasley sweater she'll have. Yeah. So the first one has an L on it for her first name. This one, she specifically wants the W on it. And we were having a little chit chat about the contrast color, this one that we purchased to put the W on. And I was like, do you like it? Basically, when I go to someone and I'm making something for them and I say, do you like it? Are you sure you like it?
I know how this goes.
Because you don't like it? Usually means it's not my first choice. But she kept saying, yeah. And I was like, okay, Betsy, just be quiet. So I did actually take her, the swatch I'd made, and I duplicate stitched a small little letter on it, and I looked at it and I went, okay, no, never mind. It does work.
It's a pretty classic combination.
I think so.
Purple and it's
I think just because this was one of I haven't really ordered yarn online very often. It was a little different. What arrived from what we thought we saw on our display, which I thought was going to be a more bright gold kind of yellow. But this is actually probably better. It's more of a softer kind of wheat color. So we'll see. The pattern calls for that I should put the W on now.
Right.
Which kind of makes sense. Well, the piece is still flat and not all put together. So maybe I should do that. I was going to wait till I was done the whole thing.
And it's duplicate stitch. You already said it, but just to remind everybody that it's okay.
I'm pretty sure I just followed the pattern last
And is the
time.
back done?
Back's done.
Okay.
Yeah. This one I actually have to slow myself down on. So what I do is this is allowed to get to a certain point, and then I'm not allowed to work on it until I work on the other ones. So that I'm trying to match up the end point of it.
Yes, yeah.
I'm making a sweater for each member of my family, and I don't want anyone to think that they got favored.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That their sweater, because they all come by and they'll be like, is that mine you're working on? And they'll be like, oh, okay. If it's theirs, or if it's not, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's funny because I ran into the same thing with the cowls. So it's like, so you're making a cowl for her?
Yeah.
Like, yes, I'll make you one too.
Yeah. Oh boy.
All about fair,
That's why
fair.
I don't have kids.
Oh.
It's only me.
But Ken doesn't come by and say, oh, you're making something for Vinny. What about me?
Poor Ken hardly gets anything knit either. Yeah. So, all right. So, Weasley. So now you're on your Crochet Tessellation Nation.
Broke through.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Tessellation Nation is the Sue Mitten course that Betsy's taking. And so Sue Mitten is the owner of the Mercery. So we've talked about it. And this is kind of a tour de force in design.
Yes.
It's not a crochet, but whereas now I kind of see the whole picture of what Sue is doing, because she has a really beginner. I think it's called the sunflower blanket that you do. So if you want to learn to crochet like from the very beginning, that would be something that you could do. But she's got 3, I would say, that are more intermediate classes and going up to, I don't know, advanced. So the first of those 3 classes is the Homage of the Granny Square, which I'm doing now. The second one would be the Wallflower, which Betsy and I did, and I'm still doing it a while ago. And then the latest one is Tessellation Nation. So, and what would you say about it?
So I have a couple of comments to make first. So at this point, which I'm not very far in, I would say that the crochet part of the Wallflower, in my opinion, seemed more experienced.
Okay.
Because we were building more sort of 3D effects with the crocheting. So you would have to go back and do some crocheting on the back side, which Kim briefly mentioned, and she'll talk maybe more about when she gets to it. So far with the tessellation, and when I look at it, I don't see a lot of that 3D effect going on.
Okay.
It's more about we're creating untraditional shapes.
Right.
It's not going to look like what I show you today, but eventually we will get to some, like, we'll create star shapes and a shape she calls a boat shape.
Okay.
They're not 100% symmetrical.
Right.
And they're just a little bit out of the traditional crochet shaping.
Right.
So that part of it will be a bit trickier, but so far the crocheting part is fairly straightforward, I would say.
The actual manufacturing of the crochet.
crochet. Yeah. So this is definitely a challenge and a stretching in working with color and putting colors together. And then I added an even more challenging element to it, that I decided to go completely out of my comfort range with colors. Partially because I wanted to create a blanket that my husband liked and that was along his color lines, and partially because I was just like, Betsy, it is time to explore something beyond pink, purple, and gray. Because those are my comfort colors.
Right.
Give me any shade of pink, purple, gray, even blues, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can tell you what goes where, and no problem. I have ventured into not fully the autumnal, but kind of autumnal. Just so I generally in life avoid green because I don't know what to do with green. I don't know why. I don't really have anything against it. I just feel lost with greens. Okay. So I'm bringing greens in, and then oranges as well as another color. I like to look
Simone
at
loves it.
Colors that Simone is quite comfortable with.
Yeah.
So I'll just show the pieces, and then I can talk more about my experience as I show them. So I'll pass them along. Yeah,
and the one thing I'll say is the shapes themselves. So these are pentagons, whereas they're not they're not symmetrical in the same way that a hexagon is.
No, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
So this which opens up the possibilities of the other shapes that you're talking about. Whereas the other two things that I'm going to show are all based on either hexagon or square.
But I guess what I was meaning is you work at circular, like you work around and around, which I'm thinking. I know that when we get to the boat shape, you're going to have to double back at some point to create a shape that has points on it and not points on other parts of it. I think anyway. Okay. So yeah. So this is so these are the initial. I don't even know what we're calling these. They're wreaths. They'll get filled with things. And what we were doing is focusing mostly on the frame color. This was the predominant color, and then whatever you put inside the pieces just needed to come from the same color family. Right. So that's what I did there.
Okay. Wow.
So we've got a green, a turquoise, and these are all kind of pieces that will be like the splashes of color in this project. Okay. And after yesterday, and I was on number 4, and I could no longer remember which I had done first, I started labeling pieces. Smart. Because these are also not all attached. We're working very, what I'm going to say, mosaically. So you've got your rectangle. These pieces come from all different spots in the blanket. Okay. So I decided to just label each piece the number that she calls it on her pattern. Okay.
And what is the difference between them? Just the color?
Just the colors. That's all you've got so far is the family of colors that we're working with in here. Okay.
And she is the master of putting a lot of colors together, then getting from one color to the other, which I'm going to talk about as well. Yeah.
So I found it really hard to start. And I think some of that was, she had mentioned that, you could purchase the yarn as you go. And I had that in mind that I was going to do that. But for me, I realized I love to have my pencil crayon whole set in front of me, and then I will just pull out what I want and what goes together. And I like to hold things together and see it. So I decided I need yarn in hand to do this. Even though she walks you through how to lay it all out and make a plan on paper, that for me was not really working. Okay. So once I finally just said, okay, just buy the yarn. And I just went and I chose, I think she works with 30. I chose and took home 27 colors. I have already eliminated at least one. Okay. I don't know if I'm going to swap it or if I'm just not going to worry about using a 27th color. Right. So once I had all those yarn balls right in front of me, I have 3 boxes. I organized them into their family of colors. Right. So now I just pull what I want when I'm working on it. So for each of these, they contain 5 different colors. So I pull the 5 colors I want, I work with it, and then I refile them. I know I might sound ridiculous to some people, but it really is all about having the proper filing system, everything.
Just keeping them where you're
organization, having everything at my fingertips. Yeah. So the first one was like slow and painful. I think the very first one I knit was this red one, and I kept reaching over, showing it to Matthew and be like, does it look good? Do you like it? And he was like, oh my gosh. Yes, it's fine. No, he's being a very good encourager.
It's funny because that's my favorite one.
But that's just it, right? It's so that's what I had to tell myself. This is not a project about finding the colors and using the colors I like. It's about really paying attention to what works together to create something that I like. So I now know in my head what the overall sort of background color of this whole project will be. So I am choosing my colors and based on where they're located in that sort of background frame. Right. And trying to think about that as I put it together. So there's just a lot more thinking and decision making as you go with this one. It is not just a pattern that is handed to you that says step 1, 2, 3, 4 and just follow. Yeah.
You've really got work to do.
Yes. And you have to be willing to take some risks. And that has been hard for me. I think Matthew has said a few times, I think you're being too controlling. I think you're just trying to control it too much. And he's so right. It really is. You have to be willing to let some of those preconceived ideas go. Now, you could just match up the colors that Sue used. She gives you a full layout and you could just do exactly what she did with the matching colors or whatever color you substituted, which was kind of how I thought I would start doing this. But then I decided, nope, that's not actually what I want to do either. Yeah. So what I'm looking at is on the sort of page we get that lays the whole thing out. Instead of looking at, oh, she used a green, so I'll use a green. Yeah. I'm trying to look at how dark is that green that she's using and think about what's going to come next to it. So I'm working more with just depths of shade and putting my own colors in there. And I'm going to trust that in the end, that's going to work. Yeah. So that's a perfect segue to mine. So is there anything else that you want to, It was basically, it came down to sometimes people, you just have to start.
Yeah. Just start. And I think that because when you sign up for the course, you have access to Zoom meetings with Sue. And you also there's a comment section, and she's good about it, answering comments, but it's really kind of, sometimes you need guidance if you're really kind of not really sure, you need guidance. But I think that part of the magic of her courses is that you just have to go by your instincts sometimes and not have somebody tell you exactly what you have to do.
And I think the other sort of control issue for me too is I don't like the idea of any wasted yarn. Okay. So it's like, well, I need to know that what I bought is exactly what I'm going to need and use.
Have you met my friend Simone?
But there's just so much more fun if you can free yourself from that, like this color has to work in this place that I planned it for. Yeah. So this is where I'm trying to think of my yarn palettes, my pile of yarn balls at home more as a paint palette to pick and choose from, as opposed to like color A, color B, color C goes in spot A, B, C, D. Yeah, so it's I'm painting with yarn. So maybe I'm making this sound all like really highfalutin, but it's just, I'm stretching myself. Yeah. So some of you might be approaching and being like, what is she talking about? It's so straightforward. But for me, it's a good, enjoyable challenge, but also moments where I've been like, am I in over my head? No, I'm not. But I just have to let go.
Yeah. So I'm on the other end of the spectrum because I did the Wallflowers first. I had barely crocheted anything before I started doing them. But the only thing I can say about myself is I can trust myself to follow instructions.
And she gives very clear instructions.
Yes. Yeah. So I had enough confidence to do the Wallflowers. So I picked up my Wallflowers again, so I'm going to show something about that. But I think that I'm going to talk about my journey with the Homage to the Granny Square, because it fits in more with what you were just talking about. Mm-hmm. So what I discovered, I talked a little bit about this in the last few episodes, is that, there's like a ton of color theory. So I have the course outlined for the Homage to the Granny Squares, and I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks lessons. Or whatever lessons you're in, and you still haven't touched a ball of yarn yet. Yeah. Okay, so but there's exercises that Sue has you do, and I think she talks about them in every class. Mm-hmm. But this was obviously, the Homage to the Granny Square was the first one where she really set out that part of the program. So it's really a lot about talking about color theory. So for me, intellectually, I know about color theory. I know about what the different things are called, and chromatic, and going from one color to the other, and tertiary, and all. I can talk about that because I've studied it, but to actually know what it means in a project is something different. Mm-hmm. So whereas you, I think, we're probably more intuitive about color.
Absolutely, because I only actually learned the color wheel when we talked about, okay, Betsy, do you want to learn how to dye yarn?
Yeah.
Then I went home and I took, is it Sweet Georgia?
Yeah.
I think their course. And that's where I learned the color wheel.
Yeah.
So I had never studied any color theory.
And I think it's kind of, it's a little bit, it's kind of like people that have an ear for music and can't read music, mm-hmm. and being able to read music and not have a musical ear. Yeah. I know people that have had that, mm-hmm. That kind of, they're technically, they're very good, mm-hmm. but there's some kind of little magic dust that's missing, mm-hmm. sometimes. But so it's kind of the same thing. So you can know it, or you can do it, but knowing it and doing it are there's a benefit to having both aspects. Is that,
I think it makes sense. And I think from what you're bringing a bit of clarity for me, I think what happened is I had spent so much time now learning and studying the theory that these two things actually like clashed and I was stuck for a minute.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I know how to match colors, but to put, it's like, this is what Simone is really good at, is she'll take a color, and there's been more than once I'm going to shoot. And then she comes with the project and I'm like, oh, wow. Okay. Because you do that
Yeah.
I don't know how much technical color theory you have. You just intuitive. So you're intuitive about it, which it seems magical to somebody that can't be intuitive. Like not really intuitive. However, I had a moment this week, and it was a kind of I said to the girls, I said, okay, I had an epiphany. Like, this is like something else.
A breakthrough.
So, a breakthrough. So, and when I have to put a bunch of, I'm kind of like sort of what you said, but you were much more advanced, is I can put blues together, and I can put pinks together, and I can put purples together, and I know what I like and I know what I don't like. But to come up those combinations that are really magical that you see in yokes or other in projects are the ones that have some kind of element of surprise. Yeah. Like, I would have never put that. I say that all the time. I would have never put that together, but it really works. So I'm just going to go a little bit deeper, because the people that are watching today that are have taken the Homage to the Granny Square course, you're at this point right now where you're going to pick your colors for real and start your next lesson is going to be starting to make the squares. So Betsy and I took Sue's suggestion, because for all her classes, she gives you the suggestions of colors, and she definitely tells you what she did, so you can have something to start with. And we actually did exactly what you said. We looked at the tone of the color, the depth of the colors first. So we picked out, I wanted to go from, I saw this project that went from a Loden green to a hot pink. And I just loved that. And I wanted to do this blanket with that in mind. So Betsy helped me, and this is all in felted tweed, and we came up with this combination. So the idea was, based on Sue's instruction, is that you pick the colors that you want on either end, and then you get to the color somehow. So we picked these colors. First of all, I would never have picked this color. I would never have picked this color. This made total sense to me, because that's like pinky. Yep. And but we trusted the process, and this is what we came up with. So this is the center of the blanket that I'm going to make, and then there's going to be a dark border that's around it, and then you have wild colors that pop in and out of the center and of the border. So I was perfectly happy with this, and I started, and as I've said, I have a kind of an advanced copy of the lesson, because Sue knows me by now. So I got the advanced copy, and I happily, one of the first lessons, she says, just pick your 3 favorite colors and do a square. So because I was doing, I wanted the pink and the green, I picked these 3 colors, and I did a square with the hot pink and next to the green, which is exactly what I wanted. So literally what I liked. And it was great. It was great. But then you can only do 2 of these for the thing, and then you have to do some other. So you had to start now picking your next favorite. So when I got to, so when I got to go to this end of this end, and I was supposed to use this, I was like, just doesn't sing for me. So for anybody that's watched me do the Wallflowers knows that peach, felted tweed peach 212 is my absolute unfavored most color in the whole, because they have all really beautiful colors, but I'm not going to say I hate it, but I hate this color. So, and it's a perfectly fine color, but
it's just not your favorite.
It's in my Wallflower because I wanted to take a chance in it, and it looks fine there. Yeah. But did this. And I went, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it works.
So much better.
Yep.
It worked.
It
You're
works.
saying, of course.
Yeah.
But this, even though on this color by itself, I like this color. And then I did a square with it, and
Yeah.
So
If there is any color in felted tweed that is a shapeshifter,
yes,
it is this peach.
Yes.
Because I have it in mine as well in 2 different places, and it looks like 2 different colors depending on what is sitting beside it.
Yes. So what the effect of putting the peach with this made the pink pop and that's one of the classes is called juxtaposition and something else with Sue, and that's exactly what she's talking about, is that it's not just the color by itself, it's the color next to the color that it's next to that make the relationships between the 2 colors that are important. And I think she talked about that in your thing as well, right?
And I know already there's one that I'm not super happy with in mine, but I've decided to just leave it because it's such a small amount.
Okay, so that's the center of my blanket, and then this is the border.
Get Simone to hold on to that one.
Well, I can. Okay, so this is the border, and it's completely different than this because it's got the purples and everything. So I was like, okay, so but the reason why it works is because you bring this. She also talks about frames with this project as well. Like, she didn't talk about frames in the Wallflower, but the frame is actually the color where it means where the square goes. So this is a border square because the outside frame is from the border selection. So I went back and just did these. I can only do 2 of these. So I used my original colors that I wanted, and I just switched the inside from the frame. So this will be that. And then I do so many with this one, then I do so many that this is the outside frame. So this, and I can see how like this is all going to just help you to meld to get from the different colors. But no one was more surprised than me that this is the one that went out and peach ended up being there. So then these are the wild colors that we picked together, and this is obviously makes sense with what I want it to do. But now I've started questioning the mineral inside. So it's brighter than the cumin, which is here, but I'm thinking that I need to go with something that's a little bit more poppy. Yeah. So either this or there's another color called sulfur, which I don't have here, which is even more yellow.
Sulfur would be fun.
That's what I was telling. I think I'm leaning towards the sulfur.
So this is lotus leaf, this is avocado, and then sulfur is even that just a touch more yellow.
Yeah. And it might, with the sulfur being a bit more yellow, you might find it will behave differently in the relationship. It will pull sort of some more, or not pull, but just
accentuate.
Yes.
So
than the greens.
In your class, Sue says, embrace the mud.
Yes.
Embrace the mud. And she says something similar in the homage to the granny square that I am listening to as well. And she's absolutely right. Yeah.
And
you need those colors.
She's referring to is the colors you find when you take 2 colors and you start blending them together.
Yes.
In the middle tends to be those muddier colors, which we do tend to avoid because they're unidentified colors. They're not really certain. They often end up just being brown.
Yeah, or brownish.
Or brownish, not even like I love a good reddish, deep brown. Yeah. But these ones, they might actually look a little bit greenish in a certain light. Or
like the stone is a good...
or they might look a little bluish.
Shapeshifter too.
That's a shapeshifter too. So this is stone. And I always called it a beige, but it's actually a green, it seems. Or it's actually a yellow. So it's those. So you have those 2 shapeshifters. But that's how you get from one color to the other. So you've got the reds, which pink is based on the red. You've got the yellow, which the cumin is based on. And then you've got the green, which is technically not a primary color. But to get there, you need those intermediate colors to get it. So anyway, it's
So for those of you who are knitters and you're like, whoa, my goodness, there are chapters.
Yeah.
Might be a bit late of a warning, but.
Yeah. So it's just, though, I just found it really, really helpful.
Yeah.
And some of you know this intuitively and are saying, what are they? It's like they just discovered some kind of whatever. And, but if you're not, then these rules that are also meant to be broken are actually can help guide. So I was so excited about this yesterday that I was like, oh, okay, so a color work yoke. It's the same thing. If you've picked the colors that the designer, I'm questioning this one now too. We'll see what happens. Yeah.
And I just got lipstick everywhere.
Oh, okay. So we're, if you have looked at, it's happened with me when I was pulling some colors for a Marie Wallen design, for example, because she uses like 12 colors. She uses a lot of colors. And I'm like, oh my goodness, how is this going to fit? And then you look at it in the project, and that color that you're dissing is what makes the other colors sing.
Yeah.
And so she's obviously very good.
I was going to say, there are those of us who are aspiring to be, and then there's Sue, and there's Marie, and there's folks who are
magicians
with the color.
It seems like they're magicians, but maybe
they've made a living and a career out of understanding and being able to do this.
Yeah, and being brave.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, wow, we're really late for Okay, and I think that's it takes a little bit of courage, but you have to try it. You just have to try it, I guess.
And worst case scenario, you pull it out.
Yeah, exactly, and try something different.
This is not sewing.
Yeah.
The piece is not forever cut.
And with crochet, it's so much more forgiving too, because you don't have to worry about dropping 50 stitches.
Yeah.
You just pull back one at a time.
Yeah. And then I don't have it here, but Sue gives you, as part of her classes, she gives you a grid where you write in the numbers or the colors and next to the A, B, C, D or whatever. It's amazing. And maybe not surprising to some people that once you've written that color there, for me, that means I made my decision.
Yeah.
So
that's why that chart doesn't exist once you get to the Tessellation Nation.
Yeah. No, she doesn't even provide it. No, okay. Good job, Sue. Because
Unless I missed it, but I'm pretty sure.
It is kind of like if you're a rule follower like I am, then once you write it down, it's like, oh, well, you decided that's what it is. But so
she even says, just because it's crocheted in, she told us to leave all of the frame ends out. Don't tuck those in yet.
Oh, okay. Crazy.
Wow. And I did it. They're not woven in. So that means that nothing is in stone. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. So we're having fun. With
playing with yarn.
Yeah, it is. It's playing with yarn. And there's certain things I always like to say about my journey of knitting is that swatching and understanding how you can substitute yarns is kind of a benchmark for a knitter, I think.
Yeah.
Once you're not tied to the pattern or what the designer did as far as the yarn goes, that's the first kind of thing that releases you from, being tied in too much. Then I don't know what the next one is. There's maybe about using different colors or changing techniques or something.
Getting your techniques down.
Yeah.
Not letting a technique hold you back from doing a project.
Right.
So you've got enough techniques in your tool belt that you can be confident about making something.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe the next one is being able to read your knitting.
Yeah.
And being able to back out when down, do
fix
errors and things like that. So that could be that. But now I feel like, for me anyway, this was a piece that was missing that no expert for sure, but obviously it made a big impression. Because I'm talking about it, but it really feels like
you unlocked the secret.
Unlocked it, got to the next level.
Yep.
I found another banana. If anybody ever played Donkey Kong,
that's what I was going to say. I think the term the kids use is leveling up. I'm leveling up.
Exactly. So I did want to talk just briefly about Wallflowers, because this is a blanket who now my niece has been married and knows that she's getting it as a wedding gift, hopefully within the year that but I did pick that up again. And now I felt like crochet was, I didn't do any knitting, I have to say. So my You Can Do It is not going to make an appearance, but I did do quite a lot of crochet. And I'm not going to spend any time, but these are the dark corners of the Wallflower. So after that, I've got a bunch of popcorns to make, and then it'll be done. So that's it. So I'm on my way. But now what I'm finding is that these, we've talked about this before, Betsy, that these big flowers are quite a lot of work. They're time consuming. And after you've done 10 of them, a little bit boring because it's like 12 trebles
but still, you still have to, I think the thing is, it's not like, you could maybe do it while watching TV, but unlike stockinette, where you don't have to really count every stitch, you still have to count every stitch.
Yes, you need to count. So, which is you always making sure that you had 12 of them, because you start going like this and you're just like wrapping yarn and pulling through and whatever. So you have to count every one. But so what I've been doing, it's working perfectly, is I do one of these and then I do 3 squares.
Nice.
So that's your treat for getting one of those finished.
Yes, exactly.
Nice.
For now.
Yeah.
And so that's and I don't really have a great space anymore. I used to have my blanket out on a dining room table that I wasn't using, so I could have it out, and I was joining the flowers as I go.
You might need that table once you're back to the joining part again.
I know. Yeah. So
this
now
has help too. She's help.
Yes. And it's very helpful.
And loves to help with fiber craft.
Yes, exactly. So normally I would do one of these and then join it. And then that breaks up the monotony of treble after treble after treble crochet.
If I look blank, it's because I'm blank. No. You complete all of those
first,
and then you put them in production.
Yeah, exactly. So so then I need to, so the foil between this is now those little squares, which you can whip up, and it takes you about, I don't know if it even takes 10 minutes once you get used to what you're doing. And then I can go back and face this, because I can't put them in right now. So,
and the little squares are so cute.
They're really cute.
I think if I looked at the picture though, you're going to do squares of varying sizes.
Yes,
right?
yes. Okay. They get bigger. Yeah. They get bigger. So these basically, there's 28 of these in the whole blanket of different colors, and then you pop them in. So, but they're sweet, aren't they?
They are. Very cute.
Yeah.
I've never actually made a granny square, because even looking at Simone's, I was like, I have never actually done
These are
that.
really simple ones.
Yeah.
They're just, you don't have to think about it at all. You just go.
You use different stitches in each layer of these ones, whereas our traditional grannies, you just make the shells. So yeah, great.
So this was brainless crochet. That is not.
Well, it's not brainless, but you're not going to blow a gasket doing it. Let's put it that way. So it's I've been doing it watching TV. Nice. So, but I count.
Yes.
I make sure that and so that's it. Okay, so that's a lot of talk about crochet. That's it.
It was a little crochet heavy today.
Yeah, exactly. And anybody that said they like the chatty episodes,
you're welcome.
Yeah, it's another chatty episode. All right, so I just wanted to, now we're just going to talk a little bit, the PEI Fibre Festival, to remind everybody it's October 23rd to the 25th, 2025. At the Delta Hotel, as it was for the last 2 years. I just wanted to mention that we have room blocks and hotel partners. The rooms for the Delta, if you want to stay there, are already in the block, are starting to sell out. So we've added a couple, but the hotel limits how many rooms that they're going to give at that rate. So if you think you're coming, you should probably, and you want to stay at the Delta, there are other hotel partners as well, so you can check them out, like the I'm not quite sure who they all are, but it's on the website. But if you want to stay at the Delta, you should book your room. And it has the same reservation policy as any reservation. You can cancel it if you're not able to come within a certain amount of time. You check their cancellation policy. but you don't want to be disappointed, because if the hotel gets booked up and you have to pay full price for an upgraded room, you're not going to like that very much. That's it. All right. And the harmony part is next. I have no idea what it's going to be again. So we're kind of, we've been kind of busy. So we'll figure out something, and I'll try not to recycle another one, because I've done that a couple times, but we'll try to. The other day would have been a perfect day, but we were busy bringing water to all the animals and stuff. And then it was, anyway, so before we get to the harmony part, as always, we want to wish you a great 2 weeks, and whatever crafts you're doing, like we're all just going diversifying and everything. So we hope you have joy doing whatever crafts and handiwork that you're doing, and have a great 2 weeks. Bye.